everybody knows how to develop a quarterback. You're assuming that you're going into a program. I mean, I'm telling you, this is not, there's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback or calling an offense. So are you saying, I mean, just like we'd rank quarterbacks 1 to 32, do you rank offensive coordinators 1 to 32? Do you rank quarterback coaches 1 to 32? Well, what if you have the 32nd ranked coordinator in someone's mind, or the 32nd ranked quarterback coach? How is he getting a level of development that the guy who's first is getting?
Tom Brady just accused the Cleveland Browns of sabotaging Shedeur Sanders, and the NFL froze. Yeah, sabotaging the GOAT basically said Cleveland doesn't know how to develop quarterbacks, and fans instantly knew who he's talking about. In one interview, Brady exposed the ugly truth. Some teams aren't failing to build young QBs, they're setting them up to fail. And when he said it, every eye turned to Cleveland. Because if Brady's right, Shedeur Sanders was never given a fair shot. He was thrown into chaos, blamed for the results, and left to sink on his own. Now everyone's asking the same question. Did the Browns sabotage their own future and think no one would notice?
The local Cleveland media keep going relentless on Shedeur. He entitled, distracted, developing slow, can't learn the playbook, not getting practice reps with the scout team, not getting practice reps at all. But what if I told you? Then don't none of that got to do nothing with football. This goes deeper than people realize. If y'all ain't seen the Tom Brady came out on Colin Cowherd, now this is pertaining to the Browns saying they developing quarterbacks.
It started quietly, just another segment on The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Brady was supposed to be talking about quarterback development. Nothing controversial, nothing headline-worthy. But then, out of nowhere, he dropped the line that set the internet on fire. There's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback. That's all it took, one sentence. And within minutes, NFL fans connected the dots. Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders, the rookie everyone says is struggling to adjust. Brady didn't name names, but he didn't need to. He talked about coaches ranked 32nd out of 32, about young quarterbacks getting no real guidance, and about organizations pretending to develop talent while actually destroying it from the inside. To most viewers, it sounded like a rant about the league. But to anyone following the Browns, it sounded personal. Because that's exactly what's been happening in Cleveland: chaotic coaching, mixed signals, and a young QB who's been treated like a problem instead of a project.
Let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance with the play calling. You know you have an offensive line that isn't playing that well. So what do? Why not just play the short game so he can get the ball out of his hands very fast to run a competent goddamn offense? Outside of that, Shedeur has to be better in understanding that the offensive line that you're working with right now is not adequate. Why not allow the players that are competing for a job, in this instance, Shedeur Sanders, to finish off the 2-minute drill?
The reaction was instant. Clips of the segment flooded Twitter. Analysts started splicing his quote next to footage of Shedeur sitting on the sideline during drills. And by the end of the day, Brady exposes the Browns was trending across NFL Twitter. It wasn't just a critique. It was a warning shot. Brady was saying what players have whispered for years. The league doesn't have a player development problem, it has a coaching problem. Cleveland has turned quarterback drama into an annual tradition. New coaches, new systems, new promises, same disaster every season. It's like they hit the reset button every offseason and call it development. Behind the scenes, it's even messier. Players talk about confusion in meetings, constant playbook tweaks, and zero consistency. One coach says, "We're building." Another says, "We're evaluating." Translation: nobody's on the same page, and Shedeur Sanders is the one paying the price. Then came the moment that made everything worse. Team owner Jimmy Haslam admitted he didn't even know Shedeur had been signed. Let that sink in. The man running the franchise had no clue who his own rookie quarterback was. That's not just disorganization, that's negligence. The Browns keep telling fans they're developing the next great QB, but how can you develop someone when your entire leadership structure doesn't even know what's happening? It's not a rebuild, it's chaos wearing a headset. And now, thanks to Brady, that chaos is finally under a spotlight.
But I'm going to answer this question by saying Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been starting against he's been playing against the third unit. He's fourth on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that. So you're just gonna throw him to the wolves like that, huh? I mean, you know, if he had first team snaps in practice, I don't say that.
This is where it stops being theory and starts getting real. Because when you look at how Cleveland's handled Shedeur Sanders, it's hard not to see a setup. He's barely gotten first-team reps, thrown into drills with the third unit. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, he's tossed into live action and told to prove himself. No rhythm, no chemistry, no preparation. That's not development, that's sabotage disguised as opportunity. Even veteran analysts said it. You don't build a quarterback by isolating him from the starters and then blaming him when things go wrong. Meanwhile, the media narrative twisted it into Shedeur's not ready. He's distracted, he's struggling to adapt. But how could he not struggle when the system around him is broken? It's like being asked to fly a plane after they've taken out the wings. Brady saw it instantly. He recognized the same chaos he avoided early in his own career. The difference was Brady had real coaches who believed in structure. Shedeur, he's surrounded by people who talk about development but don't actually do it. And that's why Brady's comments hit so hard. He wasn't just talking about the league in general. He was describing this exact situation. The moment Brady's comments hit the air, the sports world detonated. Clips spread like wildfire, and within hours, Brown's sabotage was trending across NFL Twitter. Cleveland's local media tried to play defense, but it backfired fast.
Why is the third quarterback getting interviewed? You got nothing to do with the game. Okay, it's all for media clicks. And, he's a heck of a personality, but the personality can't come out until you do something on the field. And, it's a big week for Dylan Gabriel and a big week for the Browns. I mean, making that transition for him even be available to the press. I don't know why he's doing it.
You tell me. You know how that works. Is that the front office? Is that the comms team? Like, who's putting him out? So we're saying it's not really on him. We have to protect him. He's a young player.
Yep.
Why are we making him available?
Exactly. To me, I mean, there's no sense to have him available.
Instead of analyzing Brady's point, they went after Shedeur, calling him entitled, unfocused, not ready for the pros. Classic misdirection. Blame the player, protect the system, but this time fans didn't buy it. Every clip, every quote, every side comment from Brown's staff started to look suspicious. Why was Shedeur being kept out of first-team reps? Why was he doing interviews when the team said he wasn't part of their plan? And why did the owner sound like he barely knew the kid existed? Then Stephen A. Smith jumped in, and that's when it turned nuclear. He didn't just agree with Brady, he called it entrapment, saying the Browns didn't give Shedeur a chance to succeed, they gave him a setup to fail. And when Louis Riddick, one of ESPN's most respected analysts, backed that up with data about reps and coaching structure, the story stopped being rumor. It became evidence. For the first time, people were seeing the Browns not as unlucky, but as responsible. Because the pattern was clear. When a franchise keeps developing quarterbacks who never develop, maybe the problem isn't the players. This is the part Brady wanted everyone to hear, the truth no one in the NFL likes to admit. Players get ranked, graded, and cut in public. Coaches, they get excuses. Brady called it out perfectly. Everyone ranks quarterbacks 1 to 32, but what if your coach is ranked 32nd? That line hit like a sledgehammer. Because he's right, development isn't magic. It's coaching, repetition, and structure. And if your offensive coordinator or QB coach doesn't know what they're doing, your career can vanish before it even starts. But here's the kicker. Nobody ever measures them. The quarterback misses a read. It's national news. A coach calls the wrong scheme. It's part of the process. That's the double standard Brady exposed, and it's exactly what's happening in Cleveland. The Browns have been cycling through offensive minds like a broken carousel, and every year another quarterback becomes the scapegoat. The pattern never changes because the accountability never climbs up the ladder. Brady's message was simple but devastating. You can't expect elite results from average coaching. You can't judge a quarterback who was never truly taught. And that's why Shedeur's situation stings so much, because this isn't about his talent. It's about the system designed to fail him while pretending it's helping. Then came the quote that turned a bad look into a full-blown scandal. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam casually admitted he didn't even know about Shedeur Sanders' signing. Not forgot, not misspoke. He straight up said the decision wasn't his, that the coaching staff handled it. Let that sink in. The owner of an NFL franchise with millions invested in quarterbacks had no clue his team brought in one of the most talked about prospects in the country. That's not leadership. That's chaos in a suit. Brady's entire point suddenly made perfect sense. If the top of your organization doesn't know what's going on, how could anyone below possibly develop a quarterback properly? It's like running a company where the CEO doesn't know who just got hired. The Browns tried to spin it, the usual PR lines about trusting the process and shared responsibility, but the timing made it worse. Coming right after Brady's comments, it sounded less like confidence and more like cover-up. And the fans noticed. Suddenly, Haslam's quote wasn't just a gaffe, it was proof that nobody in Cleveland is actually steering the ship. Brady didn't just expose a bad team, he exposed a broken hierarchy. Because this isn't just about one quarterback anymore. It's about an entire franchise pretending to have a plan when the truth is, they've been winging it all along. Once Brady spoke, the court of public opinion opened and Cleveland was on the stand. Twitter, Reddit, ESPN, everyone became a detective overnight. Clips of practices, sideline reactions, even body language were being dissected frame by frame. Every little thing the Browns did suddenly looked suspicious. Fans noticed Shedeur rarely taking first-team reps. Analysts pointed out weird media choices, like why a third-string QB was made available for interviews after a loss. None of it made sense, unless you believed Brady's theory. That's when public sentiment flipped. Before it was Shedeur's not ready. Now it became, are the Browns setting him up? The internet connected the dots faster than the team could issue statements. Conspiracy threads turned into trending topics. Players from other teams even liked posts calling out the Browns' fake development. And just like that, this wasn't a local Cleveland story anymore, it was a national headline. Because if the GOAT says something smells wrong, fans are gonna start sniffing around. And the more people dug, the uglier it looked. Shedeur wasn't just underperforming, he was isolated. Cut off from top reps, given no consistency, and then blamed for the fallout. In the age of social media, that's all it takes. A single Brady quote turned one rookie's rough start into a public trial. And this time, it wasn't the player being judged, it was the franchise. Here's what makes all of this hit even harder. Tom Brady was Shedeur Sanders once, a late-round pick, overlooked, doubted, barely given reps. He sat, waited, learned in silence while the football world ignored him. The only difference, Brady had coaches who actually believed in development. Bill Belichick and Dick Rebine didn't just evaluate Brady, they built him. They gave him structure, patience, and accountability. When his QB coach tragically passed during camp, Belichick personally stepped in to fill the role. That's how seriously they took development. Now compare that to Cleveland. Shedeur's in the same position Brady once was, except his coaches seem more interested in politics than progress. No mentorship, no leadership, no direction. Just empty phrases like competition and evaluation. That's the cruel irony Brady sees. He knows exactly how fragile a quarterback's early years can be, and how easily potential gets destroyed when nobody cares enough to nurture it. If Brady hadn't been developed properly, maybe the world never would have seen the GOAT. And that's why he's speaking up now. He's not defending one rookie, he's defending the entire next generation. Because deep down, he knows what it feels like to be underestimated, and how quickly a franchise can bury a career before it even begins. Brady's words might have been aimed at Cleveland, but the echo went far beyond Ohio. Because what he exposed isn't just a Browns problem, it's an NFL problem. Every year, the league drafts new quarterbacks full of potential. Every year, half of them disappear before they ever stand a chance. Why? Because the system is broken. Teams preach development, but behind closed doors, it's chaos. New playbooks every season, ego-driven coaches, no patience, no consistency. Brady just said out loud what players whisper in locker rooms. Coaching has become the league's biggest blind spot. Quarterbacks get benched for one bad drive, while coaches survive years of mediocrity. It's a cycle that rewards excuses instead of accountability. And Shedeur Sanders might just be the latest victim of that cycle. He walked into a franchise that sells growth but delivers confusion. And when things go south, they blame the player, never the plan. That's why Brady's message hit so deep. He wasn't ranting, he was sounding the alarm. If the NFL keeps protecting coaches instead of developing players, it's gonna keep losing future stars before they even begin. Maybe it's time to stop rebuilding quarterbacks and start rebuilding coaches. Because in a league obsessed with talent, the real problem isn't who's under center, it's who's holding the clipboard. So now the question isn't if Tom Brady was right, it's how long the NFL can ignore him. Because when the greatest quarterback of all time says the system is broken, you don't shrug that off. You listen. Cleveland can spin, deny, and deflect all they want, but the damage is done. The entire league just got a front row look at how fragile development really is, and how quickly it turns into sabotage when the people in charge stop being accountable. Shedeur Sanders didn't ask to be part of a controversy. He just wanted a fair shot, and maybe that's what Brady's trying to give him, not through coaching, but through truth. Because when a legend exposes the system, he's not protecting one player. He's warning everyone still trapped inside. So, here's the real question. If the GOAT can see sabotage from the outside, how many young quarterbacks are being set up from within?